There's a new anti-Iraq war documentary that's just hitting theaters that's certain not to sit well with the Bush administration. CNN's Sibila Vargas is joining us now from Los Angeles. Sibila, what is this new film all about?
Well, it's produced by the same Oscar-nominated team that made the Enron documentary, but this time, No End in Sight is a biting critique of the Bush administration's handling of the war in Iraq. Take a look, Wolf.
We will bring to the Iraqi people food and medicines and supplies and freedom.
Whether you agree with it or not, if you go to war, it matters a lot if you go to war carefully and intelligently as opposed to carelessly and arrogantly.
No End in Sight, a documentary by political scientist turned filmmaker Charles Ferguson, details what he calls the catastrophic mistakes made by the Bush administration in Iraq.
I was chairman of the National Intelligence Council.
I was the director of strategic policy.
Rumsfeld called me and handled humanitarian affairs, reconstruction.
Among the dozens of former key players helping Ferguson make his case are Barbara Bodine, who was placed in charge of the U.S. occupation in central Iraq after the fall of Baghdad.
We had no phones for a while.
Robert Hutchins, chairman of the National Intelligence Council at the start of the war.
The president hadn't read it, not even the one-page summary.
And Colonel Larry Wilkerson, chief of staff for Secretary of State Colin Powell, when the decision was made to invade Iraq.
The Secretary's frustration, along with my own, grew as we watched our careful planning, our detailed planning, essentially discarded.
When I interviewed people for the film, over and over again, they would tell me that they were in cabinet meetings or they participated in briefings to the president, and the same thing would happen. He would not ask questions, he did not read documents, he did not read intelligence analysis.
Ferguson says poor planning led to what he calls the worst mistakes of the war. Insufficient troop numbers, lack of post-invasion protection for Iraqi civilians, and the disbanding of the Iraqi army.
Throwing 500,000 armed men into the streets with no jobs. And those men almost immediately began planning and creating the insurgency.
Ferguson says copies of the documentary have been sent to key players in Washington. Now, when contacted by CNN, the White House declined to comment. At the Defense Department, a spokesman said that the Pentagon has not yet received a copy of the film and, quote, it's hard to comment on something we haven't seen. Now, the film does open today in New York and D.C. Back to you, Will.
All right, Sibila, thanks very much.